They are your family members. It is a representation that got mapped into your subconscious mind when you were very young about who you are and who they are. With the Thanksgiving holiday fastly approaching here in the United States, we thought we would do an episode on the podcast on family dynamics and how to move through any triggered reactions that you have and step out of any dysfunctional behavior that exists in your family dynamic and really step into gratitude, which is both a result and a tool for mental and emotional and spiritual health and greatness in your life. So I'm going to hold that carrot out for you and let you know that this is a tool for growth. And it's so fitting that we're going to use it to move through any triggered or dysfunctional behavior in our family dynamics over Thanksgiving. Now, if you are someone who is not triggered by their family, this episode is not for you. Okay, go listen to another episode. It will be fabulous. It will help you in other ways. But for the 99.9% of the people out there who in some fashion are triggered by their families, maybe it's a sibling, maybe it's your parent, maybe it's an aunt, maybe it's an uncle, maybe it's your grandparent, maybe it's a cousin, maybe it's all of them. Maybe it's the whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle together. This is for you. So I want to say that there was a time where I was very confused by this. I didn't understand why I was so triggered by my family. And for the record, I love my family. I love my mother. I love my father. I love my aunts. I love my uncles. I love my sister. I love my family. And I was completely triggered whenever I was with them. And it wasn't healthy. It wasn't functional for me. It wasn't allowing me to grow and become more and do more and really, quite frankly, enjoy my life. And if you allow it to carry over outside of just visiting people on holidays, if you allow it to spill over into the phone calls and the other times where you spend time with your family, it can be really challenging for you to grow. If you're stuck in a pattern of being triggered, that will limit your growth. And if you've been following the Unstoppable Woman podcast at all, you know that I have a very strong stance that if you're not growing, you're dying. And we have a growth directive. All of us as human beings, we have a spiritual seed that we are born into this world with that says grow. Our purpose in life is to be a full expression of ourselves. And in order to do that, we must continue to grow. If we're not growing, we're dying. And when you're in that triggered dynamic with your family, you are not growing. You're staying stuck at the same level again and again and again. If you look back at why you're triggered or how you get triggered or the particular times you get triggered, or you will see that there's a pattern to this. You are stuck at the same level. Aunt Josie does A and I flip out like this. You've been in that pattern for years. Your mother says boo, you jump and get upset in this particular fashion. You have a pattern and you're stuck at that level, and we want to grow beyond it because it's not serving us and it's not serving the people in your family either. So in order to really change the dysfunctional behavior, right? And let's be clear about what I mean by dysfunctional. If it's not allowing you to grow, if it's keeping you at the same level, if it's causing you to feel trapped, if it's causing you not to feel free, if it's causing you to feel frustrated, irritated, resentful, that is dysfunctional. It's very black and white. Very black and white. And you must hold that standard for yourself, that level of, you know what? I could justify this, or I could really see it as dysfunctional. You have to hold yourself to that standard without blaming yourself, without shaming yourself, without guilting yourself, but with taking 100% personal responsibility, looking at this and going, wow, if I'm in this kind of reaction, that's dysfunctional. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to change this so that it's functional, so that I can grow and live out my more life purpose. Okay. So how do we do that? Well, one way to do that is to bring gratitude in when you're triggered. So first, before I go into that, I want to talk about the trigger issue here. When you are triggered, you are trapped by old stories. It's not the truth of who you are, and it's not the truth of who they are, your family members. It is a representation that got mapped into your subconscious mind when you were very young about who you are and who they are. These are your beliefs. And if you don't work diligently and consciously to change them, your own self-image and the image that you hold of others, if you don't work diligently and consciously to change it, it will keep you stuck in the same dysfunctional patterns over and over and over again. And you will know if they're dysfunctional because you're triggered, you're thrown out of heaven, you're in resentment, you're in irritation, you're in blame, as opposed to joy and love and laughter and excitement and enthusiasm and really, appreciating the other person, all of that. So you want to make sure that you start seeing yourself and seeing your family differently. That's more than we can cover in this podcast. It's something that I do with my high-level mastermind, with my clients. I help them change their self-image, because when you change your self-image, everything on the outside changes as well. We'll do a podcast specifically on that coming up. Look for that soon. I am committing to that. I think that needs to be really fleshed out for people in more detail. So this image gets locked in early, and it doesn't allow you to grow. It's there, even though you might now be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. You're still playing out your life based on an image of who you are that got mapped when you were under, say, 12. Okay. Some people say under 9, but very young age. So as an adult, you can see the world differently. And yet you still have this lens of understanding or interpreting behavior based on this old self-image. And you think that you have grown beyond it, but if you're triggered, you haven't. So you have to get super, super honest about that and not go into a story of justifying your reaction. Have you ever done that? I've done that, where someone's triggered you. And let's say it, the truthful way of saying that is, I was triggered by someone else. You have to take personal responsibility there. But when you're triggered, you're in the story. You keep saying things like, I can't believe they did that. Now, why did they do that? They're so insensitive. They're so full of themselves. They're so inconsiderate. They're so fill in the blank. And you're blaming someone else. If only they would change, your life would be better, right? That is a justification, and it keeps you trapped. It doesn't give you the new outcome that you are looking for. Never has and never will. Really, go back and look. Every time you've had that kind of ruminating conversation in your head, where you're trying to prove your point, trying to prove you're right and they're wrong, that has not translated into a powerful outcome of success, of growth. You may have won the argument. Someone else may have said, okay, fine, I give. But you haven't actually transformed yourself, and you haven't transformed the situation. You are still playing at the same level and you are still trapped and triggered by the same things. You haven't grown. You haven't grown. So you must look at that justification story in your head and hold yourself to a higher level, which means stopping the justification story. Now, you will want to continue the justification story. It will keep coming back. You will make the choice. Oh, look, I remember that podcast. She said, drop the justification story. I dropped it. But now that next thought, my monkey mind is hooked again, trying to justify, in the blame story. Again, look at that. Isn't that interesting? You have to keep choosing. You must keep dropping it. Okay? So now, what do you do in the moment when you're triggered? In the moment when you're triggered. One, you recognize that you've been triggered. That's a level of awareness. First, you start with awareness. Then you accept, oh, I've been triggered. You accept that this is happening in yourself and you don't make yourself wrong. You don't push it away. You don't pretend it's not happening. You fully acknowledge that you have been triggered. And then you use the tool that I want to share with you today to help you move through this and get to a higher level of awareness, response, beingness. This is growing. This is growth. And let me just connect the dots here. When you grow, when you become more, when you become bigger than your present place, you are able to receive more. Whether that's receiving more love, whether that's receiving more joy, whether that's receiving more gratitude, whether that's receiving more money, it's not unrelated. When you are in that trigger trap place and you don't know how to move through it, do you think that's just happening in your family dynamic? It's happening in your business too. It's happening in your job as well. It's happening with your kids. It's happening with your health. You don't know how to move to a higher level. So although we're doing this for family dynamics, you can use this for all aspects of your life. So the first thing to ask yourself after you have become aware and of what's happening and you're just sitting with it, you're not reacting to it. You're just, oh, look, there I am. Yep, totally triggered. You're going to ask yourself, what are you grateful for in this experience? What are you grateful for right now in this experience? Now, part of you is going to be like, nothing. This sucks. I'm not grateful for anything right now. I want her to change. I want him to be different. This is totally messed up. It's ruining my Thanksgiving. You have to hold yourself to a higher standard there. What are you grateful for in this experience? Go beyond the bountiful food, I get to spend time with my family kind of, all of that is lovely, but there's a deeper level of gratitude that you can drop into. Look at the trigger, the dysfunction. What is this calling forward in you? What is it asking of you? How is it asking you to grow? If you get really honest here, it's asking you to grow in a particular way. If you are triggered by Aunt Josie talking about going on a trip and spending lots of money and, donating to a charity that you think is awful, right? Or some sort of political beliefs that you don't agree with. If you're triggered by something like that, what is it calling you forward to grow into? Maybe it's acceptance. Maybe it's not needing to be right. Maybe it's being someone who can appreciate other people's political opinions without getting thrown by it. Maybe it's someone who doesn't need to argue every point. Maybe it's someone who doesn't need to be right. Maybe it's someone who can laugh at herself. What is it calling you forward into? What is your next growth step here? So let's say you're being asked to do a lot. Here's another example. You're being asked to do a lot, help out a lot, and you're starting to feel like you're being micromanaged or like a marionette puppet who's having her strings pulled and jumping through hoops. Do this, fetch that. In the beginning, it feels great because you want to help out, and this is family and it's fun. And then it gets to be too much. But you're caught. You're caught in a double bind here. You don't want to let your mother or your aunt or whoever is organizing the Thanksgiving down, but you really want to relax. You really want to go chill out and catch up with Uncle Joe. But there's this internal conflict there. You have a belief system that says helping is good and that you're worthy when you help. This is part of your self-image that got mapped when you were young. But as a 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old, you're not enjoying being told what to do, and you'd really like to go sit down and catch up with Uncle Joe. So you feel trapped. This is how I know I can get kudos in this world. This is how I know I am good in this world. This is how I know I'm worthy in this world. And yet you're kind of tired of it. You feel trapped by that conflict, that internal conflict. Now you have to make a more powerful choice, and you have to go back to a very key concept, which is that you are first cause, which means you are the cause of all the results that you are experiencing. It's not the person asking you to do the work that is causing you to feel trapped right now. It's your self-image and your inability to make a more powerful choice for yourself. So knowing that both of those things, you can say, actually, I want to create a new self-image for myself. And I do that by becoming more, being crystal clear about what that is, and becoming more. So let's say you say, I want to be someone who helps out and enjoys connecting with others. And then you think, okay, I'm responsible for making that happen. I am at cause. What's the new cause that I need to put into motion to get the effect that I want? One is getting really clear about the new self-image that you have for yourself. The second is going to be clear communication, which means actually taking a different action. Clear communication, it goes in the realm of action. You actually have to do something different on the outside, not just let it fester on the inside or make an internal decision. Even if that internal decision is a powerful one, you need to do something on the outside as well. So clear communication fits that category. I'm going to keep helping you for the next 15 minutes, and then I'm going to take a break. I'll be back to help again at the top of the hour. Something like that, right? You have now grown. You've now become more. This is super, super important. And it's at this point that you need to then add even more gratitude. This is where gratitude comes in big time. Be grateful for seeing exactly how you need to grow. Be grateful for being a woman committed to her growth, for the growth itself, for this experience that is showing you how you need to grow, for being someone who takes new action, who takes a different decision, who makes a different decision. It's not a platitude here. When you do gratitude like this, it's not this light platitude. It's not out there. It's gratitude for yourself and for this exact lesson that you're learning. This lesson that's calling you into being a fully expressed, full human, one dysfunctional or one challenging experience at a time. Grateful for Aunt Sue for showing up this way so you can learn and grow through the new decisions you make and the new actions you take. Gratitude for everything. This is what gratitude for everything really means. Thanksgiving is about giving thanks. Giving thanks in this way transforms your life. And remember, every day can be Thanksgiving when you make this a practice. Hey there, my friend. Do you resonate with what you just heard? Then head over to our free resource page and get more of our good stuff, including our free Unstoppable Woman Playbook and Money Breakthrough System. You'll find that and more at theunstoppablewoman.com/free stuff. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.